All right, let's get right into it. Today we're going to be deconstructing a really powerful short story, David Michael Kaplan's Doe Season. Now, this is one of those classic coming-of-age tales, but believe me, it is so much more than just a simple hunting trip. And this question right here, this is the absolute core of the entire story. It gets thrown at our main character, Andrea, by one of the hunters. And honestly, the rest of the story is all about her figuring out the answer, even if she doesn't totally realize it at first. So let's meet Andy. She's just 9 years old, and she's out on a hunting trip with her dad and his buddies. You know, a pretty classic masculine rite of passage. But for Andy, well, this trip is about to become this huge internal battleground for who she really is. So, first up, a girl named Andy. To really get what's going on with her, we've got to unpack this central conflict, right? It's all about how she sees herself versus how everyone else expects her to be. Okay, this is so clever. The author uses her name as this huge symbol. She's Andy, the capable tomboy, the one her dad even calls half a boy. But then there's her real name, Andrea, and that name, that represents this feminine future she's expected to step into, a future she's not so sure about. And this line just perfectly shows how the adults, even her own dad, kind of playfully keep this divided identity going. He's joking that Andy's mom tells him the same thing, that he should have just had a boy and be done with it. It just keeps Andy stuck in the middle, caught between these two worlds. Now, this whole conflict isn't just happening inside her head. The author uses the actual landscape, the setting, as this really powerful mirror for Andy's psychological state. And this contrast is just so important. The woods, that's her safe space. They're stable, they're unchanging, they're knowable. They really represent the comfort of her childhood identity as Andy. But the ocean, that's the complete opposite. It's huge, it's chaotic, it's mysterious, and it symbolizes the totally frightening and unknown world of being an adult, of becoming a woman. And here's the kicker. The story makes a direct line connecting that terrifying ocean to the idea of the feminine, specifically through her mom. Andy has this memory of seeing her mother's swimsuit top come off in the waves, and it exposes a part of womanhood that really scares her. It makes her want to stay right there on the shore, or in her case, deep in the safety of the woods. And this all leads us to the story's major turning point. The hunt stops being a game. It's no longer an adventure. It becomes a moment of truth, a moment where Andy is forced to make a choice. Andy has this almost supernatural talent for finding animals, and sure enough, she spots a doe. And her dad, in this moment of pride, or maybe it's misguided encouragement, he makes this pretty shocking offer. He wants her to be the one to take the shot. I mean, just feel the pressure in that question. There's no room to think about it. Her father gives her this black and white choice, yes or no. He's demanding that she step up into this adult role. The time for just watching is over. So, by saying yes, by deciding to shoot, Andy crosses a serious line. She's no longer just a spectator at this masculine ritual of the hunt. She becomes an agent of its violence. She's now an active participant in the whole cycle of life and death that really defines the adult world. But look at how her brain copes with this insane amount of pressure. It's too much reality, so she disassociates. The world through the rifle scope just flattens out, becomes unreal, like a picture on a calendar. It's this psychological trick that creates enough distance for her to actually pull the trigger. So what happens next is maybe the most famous and honestly the most powerful part of the entire story. It's where the author uses a very specific literary technique to explore the trauma of what she's just done. The technique is called magic realism. And just so we're clear, this isn't fantasy, with wizards and dragons. Not at all. It's when you weave these bizarre, almost magical events right into a totally realistic setting. And the whole point is to get at a deeper, more profound emotional truth. And that is exactly what's about to happen to Andy. So get this. In the middle of the night, the wounded doe, it comes back. It finds her. And Andy, she's in this almost trance-like state. She reaches into this terrible, bloody hole in its chest, and she finds its heart. She is literally holding the doe's warm, beating heart in her hand. And then it burns her. It's so hot it forces her to snatch her hand back, and it's just completely covered in blood. And that line is just so critical. Was it a dream? Did it really happen? It almost doesn't matter. The blood here is a symbol of this visceral, traumatic awakening. It's the reality of death, of violence, maybe even a symbol for the onset of menstruation. It's this flood of reality that she just can't ignore anymore. And this is that magic realism at work. The event might have been a dream, but its effect is absolutely real. Her hand looks totally normal, but it feels different, weak, damaged. The psychological trauma of what she did has become a physical feeling, proving that the experience was profoundly real to her. So how does all this, the hunts, the shot, this terrifying dream, how does it all wrap up? Well, in this final section, we're going to see how Andy is finally forced to answer that big question from the very beginning of the story. The next morning, they find the doe. It's dead. And just like that, the dream becomes this stark, cold reality. Her father, proud of her clean shot, starts the brutal, practical work of field dressing the animal. And the description is graphic. It doesn't hold anything back. This right here is the final straw. The surreal, dreamlike violence of the night before is now just this cold, mechanical act. Seeing the deer's body cut open, being gutted, it's just too much. This raw display of the masculine ritual completely repulses her, and she runs. And there it is, the answer. As the men are calling out the name that tied her to their world, Andy, she internally rejects it. That person, Andy, is gone. In this moment of running away, she sheds that identity for good. So what is she running toward? The story tells us. The wind in the trees starts to sound like the ocean, that symbol of womanhood, of adulthood, of her mother's world. It's described as terrible, but it's also inevitable. She has made her choice, and there's no turning back. And that leaves us with this one big lingering question, doesn't it? Her dad. When he made her take that shot, what was he really doing? Was he trying to bring her into his world, to empower her? Or did he just shatter her childhood and push her violently toward a future she wasn't ready for? It's a tough one, and the story lets you decide for yourself.